You got some red flag clients, right? And you keep getting them and you want to know why. I'm going to be honest, a lot of this is your fault. Now, you probably aren't aware it's your fault, but we're going to talk about why it is your fault. Because sometimes we're quick to blame other things and we don't realize sometimes the fault lies with us, which I know is a very hard conversation to have, but this is why we're having this conversation with a slightly different setup. This is a backdrop from Kate's backdrop. It just makes me look like I'm somewhere else, but I did then leave the V flats up, so you definitely know I'm not anywhere else. And we are using a slightly different setup, so if it's not that great, let me know. I'm trying new things out on the channel and it'd be interesting. So this is why you've got bad clients, red flag clients, toxic clients, whatever you want, because I keep seeing this in the Facebook groups. And I'll be honest, I keep seeing things that have me concerned. So first of all, I see things like clients aren't respecting my time. They keep coming after me. They keep messaging me time and time again. They want freebies. They want this. They want more images. They keep asking me to do edits. Oh, they haven't paid me. They're late paying. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get into it, because frankly, a lot of these you could have solved by the way you present your business and how you present yourself. And I had to have this hard conversation with me by another friend of mine. And actually we learned that if we started to point stuff out to ourselves, we would stop behaving that way. Is that what it says? Yeah. So let's go, because I wrote a list. You probably can't see because the light's exposed, but I wrote a list. Oh my God, look how old I look. My hair looks like a really angry Barbie. Right. So if you charge like an amateur, you're going to attract people who don't respect you because they think you're an amateur. I know that's really horrible to say because you're not an amateur, you're a professional, you're trying to be a professional. But if you quote so low that it is literally in the amateur realms, and I don't think there's such a horrible thing as being called an amateur. I prefer fledgling, it means you're going to grow, do some other things. But if you are desperately going to become a photographer, a professional, you need to actually understand how much it costs to do your business. So we called cost of doing business. And I have references in many a video, and I'll probably shove one up there somewhere for you to look at. But we have referenced this, and you as a business should know how much something costs. You should not be picking a number out of the air, and you most certainly should not be looking at what your competitors are charging. And you shouldn't even look at them as competitors, but I'll get into a whole nother video at another time. But you need to stop looking at what everyone else is charging and think, right, because everyone else is charging £100, I need to charge £90, £80, £50. It doesn't work like that. It genuinely doesn't work like that. And if you were people who, like, you know, when people tag, oh, I need a cheap photographer, I would cry if I got tagged in those. I probably wouldn't cry. I'd just be like, oh, you don't want to be known as cheap. That's not a nice thing. That isn't a nice thing. You're not a cheap photographer. So why are you asking to be looked at that? You cannot offer a bespoke service if it's cheap. It doesn't equate across. Bespoke means you are spending time to make it individual to that person. Therefore, that time costs. Even just down to having emails, running your website, everything costs. Why are you not charging? Why are you going to work and not billing them properly? In the end, you're owing yourself. Now, if you're in the UK, the HMRC have been very clear that as a business owner, you need to start aiming to make a profit. And if you're deliberately running at a loss, that's not a good thing. Another thing that I've noticed is that more and more people are sort of, the red flags that are coming up are like, oh, my photographer ghosted me, they were so cheap. And that's because some photographers are not even tax registered. And I know we all have a hate for paying the tax man, but register. One, you can boast that you're tax registered and people love that because somehow it gives them some, doesn't mean you're not going to be less of a douchebag as a photographer, but it does kind of give your clients that warm, fuzzy feeling. The other one is people who complain about price or compare purely on price are, in my experience, going to be the ones that treat you the worst. Now, that doesn't mean to say I haven't had high-paying clients who treat me like absolute douchebags. If you were here last month on my Instagram, you would know that I worked for a very high-profile client who I literally was crying at home, well, borderline crying, because I was spoken to in a way that was absolutely disgusting, to the point where I said, you know what, I don't need this. And I walked off set. I said, I'll fully refund less my expenses because I don't deserve to be treated like that. I only put the quick story up and they apologized profusely, the agency, and tried to get me back. And I said, well, things need to change. And I've now been rebooked. That client is no longer on their books because everyone else spotted it. I am not here to be treated like crap. And I don't expect that from either end, high or low, be treated like crap. And I have to say, when I was starting out, the lower priced clients, or the ones who wanted to pay the least and would haggle on my price, not the ones that if I did like a mini offer, not them, but the ones who would haggle me on price. I'd say like the shoot, I don't know, hypothetically was 100, and they would go, well, I've only got 50. And I'd be like, okay, I'll do it because I was desperate to get that money in. They would make me work the hardest. And that £50 shoot ended up me being in a deficit. If I looked at how many hours I put in, sometimes into the hundreds, it was not okay. The more the less they pay, often in my experience, the more entitled they are. The other one that I cannot get over, the fact we're in 2025, unless you're watching this in 2026, then it's 2026 and whatever year. I imagine people watching me that far ahead. not working with a contract. How you don't go to your regular job without a contract, right? And I don't understand, if you're running this as a business, why you don't have a contract. Why are you not having a contract? Will that focus on me? Why are you not having a contract? How is this a thing that you're just not having a contract, my loves? You need a contract. And I've never understood why people don't have contracts. It is a regular thing to have. And most of your issues would be sorted if you have contracts, okay? First of all, you need to know what's included in the contract. Here in the UK, you need to have your business address on it. You need to have a very clear detailing of what's expected, what date the contract was made on, and what date the things are happening on, blah, blah, blah. But without a contract, you won't have legal cover. Okay, now some people could say, oh, you could use Facebook Messenger, and there is that rule that it's just a lot more difficult in a court case if you needed to make people pay. The other one is, if people don't have a contract, they're less obligated to pay. They will chance it. They will literally chance it. So if you don't have a contract, good luck getting your money. Like, I'll say it right now, good luck getting your money. It's just not going to happen, and it won't happen, because they'll be like, well, I didn't know how to pay, or they'll just blank you. And you need them to sign it as well. Digital signature works, but you need people to sign this. Don't let clients... Now, this is one I need to learn this occasionally. Don't let clients micromanage your shoot. And I'm not saying that they can't have input. That's not right. That's not wrong. They can have input in their shoot. But it's when they start going on, oh, I know that you do moody, dark shots, but I want light and airy. So can we do light and airy? That is not what you need to be doing. That opens a whole kettle of fish. Is that right? On a whole new barrel? I don't know. Where people are going to be like, well, you didn't give me what I wanted. Well, you don't do that as a shoot. That's not your style. So why are you trying to do that as your shoot? That should not be your shoot. You should be going, do you know what? I don't shoot that style. This is my style. This is what I do. And I know people go, oh, but you could do it that way. It is not going to end well for you. In the rarest of rarest, it might be okay, but you need to stick with what your expertise is, what you enjoy shooting, and do that. Because the moment you start going, okay, I'll just switch over to this one, you're going to attract clients that want that more, and that's not what you do. You're then going to have a client who goes, well, you didn't quite get it right because it's your first time doing it, or you don't have experience in doing it, and they're going to be angry. And you're then going to open a whole can of worms. That's what I was looking for. A whole another can of worms, and it's going to cost you issues and time, and it's just not going to do well for if anything, your self-esteem. Do you want that? Do you want to feel bad about your work that you're putting out there? No. So no, goodbye, Karen. We're not doing what. Poor Karens, they get such a rap, don't they? Yeah. I wonder who was your original Karen. Anyone knows? Let me know. Who was the original Karen? That's what I want to know. You've got to learn to set client expectations, and that's something that comes with time. But if you are genuinely, how do I put this politely? If you don't take any BS, clients will know what they're expecting. I don't let a client come in here and tell me that if we're doing, I don't know, a dramatic lighting shoot, that we're going to do a very monochromatic shoot. That just doesn't work for me. I'm not going to, when I plan effectively, and I have it planned out so that when we're doing this shoot, I know exactly what we're doing. And if a client comes in and changes it, that's a whole different shoot, and we need to reschedule that, or I might not be the client for that, or we need to do something else. So you seriously need to reconsider how much you allow clients to manage your shoots. By all means, you need to adhere to what they love, but if you are genuinely letting them get away with telling you how to run your shoot, you're going to end up in serious bother, because honestly, they're never going to be happy because you haven't executed the vision as they see it. Okay, turn over the page. There's loads of this. Did I tell you there was loads? There's loads. I saw yesterday I was in a Facebook group, and there was someone saying that the client wants me to do revision after revision or edit after edit. One of them was they didn't like their friend in the wedding anymore, and they wanted to remove from every single photo. And I was like, that's excessive editing. She needs to pay for that. Now, I'm all here for taking the odd spot out. You know, if there's a wine stain on the dress, done. Okay. Here's the thing. If you ask me to remove people, that's excessive editing, and it's in my contract that I am not going to do that. I'm also at a wedding. I mean, it's particularly I'm talking about weddings because I saw this in the group. I'm not going to make a size 18 a size 8. You want to do that, you pay someone else. That's not how I'm going to represent the day. I think that if you start doing loads of editing for people, you are going to open this sort of gateway of them going, I want that done now, and I want that done, I want that done, and I want that done. I have it in my contract, the kind of editing I'm going to do. Anything beyond that, just say that I will have to charge, and it will be outsourced at the charge it is to be outsourced. I have been very clever with that in my contract, and I urge you to consider putting that in your contract. I'm not here for excessive editing. Now, by all means, when I work with commercial clients, they have a retoucher often that they'll use. So that takes it away from me. But when it comes to regular clients who are absolutely my bread and butter and who I love the most, I'm going to set the expectation straight away from the contract contract. I even do it sometimes in my posts, like on my social media where I talk about it. I'll make the hint about it. And when we're doing the client call, I'll talk about it because I want them to know from the get-go what to expect from me. And those little subtle boundaries are what puts in my client's head, in their noggin, that I am not going to bend over backwards constantly to change every tiny minute detail. It's such as, like, I don't mind the odd hair retouch here and then, God, look at my roots. But, you know, if you want this slick look, you have to do your part and make sure you show up looking as slick as you can. You know, it's the expectation. You know, I had one woman asking me, like, oh, I got a really bad fake tan. It's really patchy. Can you fix it? And I was like, well, send me a photo because it might not be as patchy. And it was horrifically patchy. She was an incredibly pale girl like myself. And she had the most beautiful Californian tan on, you know, the stereotypical beautiful. But unfortunately, all over her legs had been missed or rubbed off. And, you know, that was a lot of work. And I said, well, I can send it out for retouch because I don't want to be rude. That's a lot of time to do it. I know there are people who can do it great. And she was like, oh, okay, do you know what? Let's reschedule. Okay, the other one that comes up a lot, my loves, bags under my eyes, I'll lean back so you don't get to see them so much. The other one that comes up a lot is people aren't paying me. They won't pay me. I'm owed money. Well, if you had a contract, that might help. But also, you're not invoicing correctly. I do have a client management software, Studio Ninja, that I use that reminds clients they've got a fee owed. They have to pay the booking retainer. I also have the one where I have clients who it's in their contract and they constantly have updates that they have to go in. So that was a waffle, wasn't it? The Studio Ninja software that I use automates all that, so I don't have to harass. I also have it in my contract, if I'm not paid, I don't shoot. Now, it's a little bit different with commercial because they have 30 days. Also, top tip on that, if they tell me it's 60 days, I say, well, the contract is 30. In the UK, there is a law that helps us govern that. So if you look that up on commercial fees owed, because I might put the link below in the description so you can read up. You are expected to be paid within 30 days as a small business owner. I don't care. I mean, some of the tactics they pull off is, oh, we didn't get a purchase order number. I said, if you require it, it goes now, but that doesn't backdate my invoice. It's 30 days. And I have been known to charge the fees that I'm legally entitled to charge. And I have that in my contract with commercial clients. And I have had a shoot that was $4,500 go to $9,500 because they wouldn't pay. And then they try to say, oh, we're not paying that, take the charges off. And I'm like, no, you deliberately stalled. I did agree to settle out of court with them because they didn't want to go to court on it, and they ended up paying me $6,500. But just so you know, this stuff happens. I've even had it with small-time clients, and I mean just regular mum and pop, like no disrespect to those, but people who've gone, oh, can I pay once I got the images? No, I'm not handing it over. I'm not handing it over. You pay a booking retainer. There's a reason why I use a booking retainer, not a deposit. Booking retainer is you're retaining my services for that day. So if you cancel it, I have a better legal standing from what I'm told. I might be incorrect in this, but I did speak to a solicitor in the UK to not have to refund. A deposit is a deposit for the services I would render. If I'm not rendering those services, therefore a deposit by its very nature is refundable. I've been told that a booking retainer, the legal term is that you retain my services. If you then cancel it, I have block booked that day to retain my services for you, and you still owe me them because I'm out. It's probably not, but that's what I got a solicitor to say. So if you aren't getting your clients to pay up front, you need to start implementing this. And if they don't want to, they don't pay, the moment they start missing those deadlines, that should be bunting red flag to you, like a whole row of it. This is what you need to consider, because this is what I'm seeing in the Facebook groups when people are saying, oh, I've got problem clients. Oh my God, why do I track them? And I hate to be like the victim blamer because I don't want you to be like this, but I want you to highlight some of the ways you're letting clients get in and why they get away with it and why you then feel bad because you're not doing certain things. By all means, I want to just state that yes, clients will hoodwink you and you won't realize till it's too late and they will sneak in. Literally, I've had those. But if you start implementing some of these now, you're going to see a dramatic change in how many clients you get, okay? The one that I think we all fall for, especially when we're new, and even I was asked to very recently to photograph something very, very successful, an event that was happening in the UK, if I would do it for the privilege of just doing it. My argument is, if I'm doing it for exposure, why do I need to make money for your business? Because you're going to use those images to make money for your business. You're going to use those images to get clients into your business so that you earn money. Therefore, why am I having to pay? Tell me why I have to do that work for you. Why have you not got it in your budget to pay me? Why don't you have it? Because if you have any business that relies on imagery, you should have a proper budget for this. Why do I have to give it to you for free? And the answer is you don't. There is nothing I've ever got from exposure that has suddenly give me an amazing job. Because I've been told this time and time again by both photographers and people who are in business, if you give something away for free, no one will respect that work and not respect you. You cannot try and get someone to pay after you've given the same quality of work for free. I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen. Have some goddamn respect. You do not need to shoot that bad. If you are desperate to shoot, go shoot a flower, your dog, a teddy bear, self-portraits. I would rather you did that than you went and gave them literally money, stuff that has value to somebody who is trying to make money off of you. Okay, it's a completely one-sided transaction. They need you to boost their business, but they don't want to pay you, and these people know that there will always be a photographer, videographer, content creator desperate to get their name out there, so they'll take advantage. It's predatory. I'm over it. You need to be over it too. And as an industry, we need to start saying no. At the very least, if you are desperate to do it, your expenses should be covered. And that shouldn't just be your travel expenses. That should be everything else. Like, okay, so my train ticket's £10, but I need to edit and you spend a couple of hours. You should be at least looking for a bit more money to cover some of that, okay? You're using storage, software, some of your equipment. You should at least be chucking a number on it, okay? Your expenses aren't just your legit travel expenses. There's other stuff that gets involved. And if you don't know what that is, how much it costs you to do things, I'm sorry, you need to go back and look at your business and go, what is my cost of doing business? And I need to write this down. I have it in an Excel spreadsheet that every time my bills go up, I put it in and it works out both the 24-hour rate and the 12-hour rate, the day rate, the week rate, and the year rate of how much I need to make in my business to break even, okay? And that's where I work my figures from before anything happens. If I get a discount, obviously it drops down, but this is what I do. And I have it in an Excel spreadsheet. I couldn't think of any other way to do it, but that's how I do it, and I track it. And if you start now at the start of your business, it's so much easier than going back and having to find all the information, okay? So red flags are something that we see in business all the time, and then people act surprised and they're like, oh my God, I didn't notice, I didn't see it. This is something that comes into business. People will always try and take advantage, whether they're aware or not, of other businesses. And especially in this climate, people are desperately trying to save money, but what they're doing is relying on the fact that you don't know your value. So they act in a predatory nature, unintentionally perhaps, to obtain what they want from you for nothing, and knowing full well that they won't give it to you. They won't give you a equal return, okay? So we're gonna sort of say if some of the red flags that you can get from clients just in their conversation can be arguing their rate, arguing your rates, another photographer's rates. They want extras chucked in even though you're giving them a discounted rate. If you choose to give a discounted rate, they're like, oh, can you add this in? Can you add that in? I remember doing a shoot and someone said, oh, could you do some behind the scenes filming? No, I'm photographing. I'm not going to do that. That's extra. I just sometimes do it for myself, but I'm not going to do it as a product for you. No. They often slate other photographers. That's a big one. I want you to look at. That's a really big one. Let me come close so you can see my bags under my eyes. That's a really big one. If they slag another photographer off. Now, if that photographer failed to deliver the work, I can kind of understand. But if they go, oh yeah, we did it with them, and yeah, they have no reason why, or we wanted this and they didn't do that. Often that's because they didn't do something, like they didn't plan right. They took advantage. Like, just look at it as a red flag potential. Okay. There's just something in your gut that tells them. I know that's a really weird one. There's just something in your gut that tells you this isn't the shoot for you. Those are just some of the red flags when I've spoken to clients that I get. Also, just the way they're not really paying attention to when we're talking to the business side. Now, I know a lot of people struggle with that, and you're probably thinking, Khandie, this video is very boring. I would agree, but this is a very essential video because I looked in the Facebook groups, and I was just at the photo and video show, and people were asking me these questions. So I'm telling you, okay? I'm telling you. There is no shame in just saying no to a photo shoot, going, no, it's not my bag. I don't want to do it. Get out of here. I'm not interested. Just say no. It's like say no to drugs, kids. Say no to crappy clients. Why is that such an issue? No, it's a full sentence if you like. I mean, you could say, oh, I really appreciate that, even if you don't appreciate it. No, thanks. The other thing I took out is, I'm sorry, I'm not capable of doing it. I say, I don't put the word sorry. I'm not apologizing that I value myself. I'll say that is not possible within my rates to offer that service that you are requesting. That would cost actually this amount. I don't use the word, I'm sorry, I'm not available. I say, unfortunately, my time schedule is maxed out and I wouldn't be able to accommodate you. I certainly wouldn't be able to accommodate you at that price. Those are my prices for what you're asking. I've got a very different dialogue now with how I do it. It's very professional. It's quite blunt, but that's what you expect from me, I guess. That's a good segue. If you like blunt talking, go on my podcast, The Loud Lens. It's on Spotify. You can go there. But I've changed my language, and I think, obviously, I cater my language for who I'm talking to, but it definitely has a significant change. And I've seen people behave differently now. So for me personally, it's worked. It might not work for you, but I personally have seen the drop in reddish flag clients, toxic clients, whatever you want to call them. I've seen a drop off. So what do you need to do after watching this video other than probably go, Khandie, breathe? You're going to click like, you're going to click subscribe, but we're also going to do raise our prices. We're going to make sure we've got contracts. We're going to set boundaries. We're going to get paid up front, and we're going to trust our goddamn gut. I think I said that right. Trust your goddamn gut. Anyway, this has been Khandie. Hope you like, subscribe, and comment, because I want to know whatever shocking client stories you've got, and I'll see you all in the next video. Ciao. Tell me if you like this setup, because I don't know yet. I don't know. Let me know.